What's up, everybody? This is episode number 4 of Fourth and One, a sports podcast. Fourth and One is presented to you by Why Am I a Nerd Podcast Network, where everyone is a nerd about something. My name is Sean Farwell, and sitting opposite of me is the golden voice of podcasting, Matt Ferreira. And the man behind the statistics, as always, is Ant the Italian. What's up, boys?
Not too much, man. Pumped for hopefully sports getting closer and closer to coming back. I don't know, just waiting for it. I'm playing Madden, just gearing up.
Yeah, I actually was playing. There's been like this push for NCAA 14.
I love if NCAA
I still have
back.
it. I still have it on my Xbox 360. So sometimes I make it down to the basement, play a couple games. But if you look for it, if you try to get a copy of it, it's like selling for big bucks on eBay.
Really? I'm not shocked by that.
They stopped
honestly.
making it. You know, stores don't have it because everyone picked. If you wanted to play a college game, you had to get that. And it's impossible to find.
It drives me nuts the way they do that. The licensing, it's just so annoying. Like, let other people get in. Because, like, Madden doesn't even have to try anymore. Like, they're releasing the same game. Like, check out these new mechanics. I'm like, is that really new? Like, there's a new way to kick the ball. Like, get out of here.
I used to buy Madden every year, but now I can't remember the last time I bought it because it's the same game. The graphics aren't getting better. They fixed some mechanics and bugs.
You're getting new players, which is cool.
Right.
But, like, honestly, you know what I would love? What I would love to see them do is if you can, I know there's a way to do it now, but even if I had to pay for it, whatever, I would take it. If I could create, like, if I could just take, like, the 2007 Giants, but also have Calvin Johnson and Saquon Barkley as a starting running back, sold. I'll pay out the ass for whatever add-ons I need to get. But I think the way it works now is, and I don't really play Ultimate Team. I just kind of mess around.
Yeah, I know that's a huge mode for like FIFA. That's why people buy FIFA.
Right, but it's like you have to like hope. You kind of have to get lucky, is my understanding. If I'm wrong, someone
you
feel
either
free
put
to call
like
me on
thousands
the
of dollars into it, or you have to get lucky.
Yeah, because you can't buy a specific character. You've got to buy like the pack and hope you get someone in the pack, which to me sounds like a pain in the ass. Something I'd be pissed about.
Yeah, and speaking of video games, we have a couple other shows that everyone can check out. Alphabetical just launched their first episode with just Matt and Cameron James.
Yeah. Not me. There's another Matt.
Yeah.
For full clarity.
This is the golden voice.
Don't get it twisted.
Your other show, Yo What Up Comics. You guys are episode 5 deep right now.
We're getting deep in there. Yeah.
And I listen to all the shows back. I have to go back and watch the film, see where we can improve. I noticed I do this a lot.
Yeah. I tend to knock over microphones. I think it gives you a nice little dramatic effect that people look forward to.
I'll go back and because I catch the end of your show, but I'll go back and listen to it. And just the interaction between you guys, and not that you already don't look like the odd couple. You're a lot taller than Cameron, even on the Hero Cinema.
Oh yeah,
because you were sitting forward on the couch, and he was leaning back.
It's a massive difference between us and that. Like, it's just, and granted, like, there's a height difference to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's so much more, I don't know what the word of, like, magnified.
Amplified.
Yeah, amplified.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
Robin Big Black.
Yeah, actually.
That's funny.
Definitely see that.
But you guys have such a good banter back and forth sometimes. It creates, like, really funny moments. And, like, I've heard the same thing 3 times, and I'll just keep like listening to it because it's genuinely funny.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. And likewise, I hope people are enjoying us as well because, like, if you're a Giants fan, you're not listening to us. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think maybe we should announce we are going to go forward with a Giants show. We're not getting rid of this show, but we're also going to have an additional Giants show during the season.
Yep.
Probably cover, obviously the upcoming game and maybe the previous game. Touch on some news and just. Give our opinions as always.
Giants focus, and we do need a name for this. So if anyone in the comments has an idea for a name, feel free, comment, DM us, tell us what you think, and maybe we'll hold a vote for the best ones or something on the Instagram.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Trash talk.
Okay,
that's only when you're here.
Yeah, we're not going to take this from a Cowboys fan. There's a reason he's behind the camera right now.
Hey, we will shout out the Italian. He did send us some news about Eli Manning.
This is true.
Ole Miss is retiring that number 10, which I was thinking about it. Like, why did it take so long?
I have no idea what they were waiting for. It's like, honestly, I'm surprised the Giants didn't already retire number 10. Like, how is it still? Like, granted, no one's going to take it. But
I think technically they're not going to let anyone wear it.
No, they're not at all.
Until they have like an official ceremony, whenever that is.
Yeah, well, I don't see how Eli's not immediately inducted into the Giants Ring of Honor. He should be immediately in, like, just as soon as the season opens, one of the home games, just be like, Eli, Ring of Honor, thank you for everything. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Maybe
him a
like Ole
statue.
Miss was like, all right, this guy's been perfect so far. Let's make sure he doesn't fuck
No,
up
wait,
at the end
well-
of his career.
well, who's next then? Evan Ingram? Do you think Evan Ingram's going to get his number retired?
No, I don't think so. Evan Ingram might not have a Giants jersey after the next couple
He's got to
seasons.
stay healthy for this season. I think it's definitely something we're gonna have to worry about a little bit because he could be huge. I think he does create a great mismatch. His speed, is kind of undeniable.
He's a freak. He is a
Yeah.
freak.
But the fact that he's injured every year and that our receiving core is, for the most part, under 6 feet tall, I'm like, if we lose him, like, we could go forward with Red Ellison, who's a great tight end in his own right. But, like, if Joe Judge and Jason Garrett can find a way to scheme correctly to keep Ingram involved, like, he could have a huge breakout season, which in turn would create issues for the Giants. Because
Right.
I think he's on his 5th year now, or next year be his 5th year
I think
option.
next year is his 5th year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been so hurt and off and on, and he had some bad drops last year.
Yeah, that he did.
But before we get into all the Giants, look, and we will talk more Giants, and that's why we're creating the other show, I think, because
Yeah,
we
kinda
kind
get a
of
little-
gravitate around that. It's easier for us to talk about. Before we get into anything else, we are going to have our beer of the episode. So tonight we are drinking a little Red Tank Brewing Company in Red Bank, New Jersey. This is the Hazy Cosmic Jive Indian Pale Ale.
It is really good. I'm not that big a fan of IPAs normally, but this is smooth. Like, just overall great flavor content.
It's solid, and I know the owners, John Arcara and his family, great people. He was also my wedding photographer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I remember when I went to you have the meeting with the photographer or whatever, he mentioned to me, he's like, hey, I'm a beer snob. I don't know what we were talking about, but I always remember that.
Did he slip you one? Because that's what I would have. Like, just think about us.
No, but side note, before my wedding started, when the bridal party was all together, my dad came up to me and he said, hey, are these guys going to be all right? Because they were already like, we had to go, they had to go and get more beer was basically the moral of the story.
Wow.
So everyone survived, everyone had a good time. But yeah, John's a good guy. He's really putting his beer out there. You can get it in stores. When bars open up, all the local bars most likely will have it. He also has his own place. You can take food out and go sit in his place and drink his beer. I believe right now they're doing outdoor dining. So if you have a chance, please go down, check out Red Tank Brewing. It's right on Monmouth Street in Red Bank. It's
it's an awesome spot.
yeah,
I've
it's a
been there
great spot.
before. It's very cool.
I'm thinking I'm going to reach out to him after we drop this clip to him, and maybe we do a podcast there.
Ooh,
That'd be awesome.
I'd love that. Absolutely. Every time we switch the subject, we can get another round. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm about that. Get a whole flight going.
Yeah, bring on some guests, get a flight of beer, and call it a day. I don't have this on our little script here, but some news came out today. Vince Carter calls it quits.
Yeah.
22 years. What are your memories of Vince Carter?
Oh my God, Vinsanity, man! He's played for a couple of teams. I've obviously really enjoyed. He was obviously on the Magic for a little bit. He was with the Nets for a while, and just like when I think of phenomenal dunks. He's the guy who's coming to mind. Some of the things he was still doing it.
Right.
Even recently, and he's well into his 40s at this point.
Yeah, at 22 seasons. I mean, that's crazy.
He played for such a long time. Nothing but respect for the guy. I do think it kind of sucks he didn't quite get to finish out this season. It kind of ends with an asterisk in my book because he should have gotten to play out the full one. But no, man, more power to him. Like, to play for 22 years at the level he did with the dunks he did, that's got to be some kind of wear and tear in your body. So
yeah, and you guys had him on your team for a little bit. Being in the Eastern Conference as a Knicks fan, when he was on the Nets, like, you hated the guy because he was unbelievable, and they had a solid team.
Yeah.
They ran to the finals
it was
that
him,
year.
It was Richard Jefferson.
Kenyon
Was
Martin.
Kidd still on the team too?
Yep.
Yeah.
And after like a guy plays for that long, and we talked about this about Tom Brady and Kobe, is like you just earn this respect for the guy.
Yeah.
To
You
just
have
keep
to.
doing it. And
Well,
honestly, I'm gonna reach out to him and ask him what he's doing for like a diet and workouts because he's
Seriously.
still got it.
It's
He
crazy.
looks young.
I want to know what him and Frank Gore are doing. The fact that Frank Gore is still
Gore.
playing is completely insane. Like,
Yeah.
at the fountain of youth.
And we're going to talk about fantasy, but fantasy-wise, Frank Gore, I'm like, I can't draft him. This will be his last year. And this was 10 years ago I was
Yeah,
saying this.
and it's crazy. He's still like very relevant. Like, I don't see how he doesn't go into the Hall of Fame just on that alone. He's like a turtle. He's just not going to die.
Right. Frank Gore, great value pick in the late rounds. So we have some questions and answers here.
I'm sorry. Before we get into that, one thing I did want to mention.
Yes.
My favorite basketball player of all time, Shaquille O'Neal, was drafted this week 28 years ago, so I had to rock the jersey today. Had to give it up for Shaq,
Respect
the big
to Shaq.
Aristotle. Gotta love him.
And now I've totally forgot. I'm wearing Liverpool. They won the Premier
they had a
League
big
today.
win. Yeah, they had a very big
They
win.
actually didn't play today, but due to the standings, they're the fastest team to clinch the title in the history of the Premier League.
That's awesome.
Think about this, and this is going to bring me to my ending question for you. But the last time they won was 30 years ago, 58 days.
Wow.
1990. The Bleacher Report put out this video, and it's like a cartoon video, and it's actually like really sad. But it basically gives the timeline, and it shows the dad and his son walking in the Liverpool jerseys, and as time goes on, the kid's getting older, and the dad's getting older, to the point where the kid's pushing the dad in a wheelchair, and then the dad just disappears.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so dark.
And next, there's a woman next to him. She's
God.
pregnant. They didn't play that scene in. I have no idea what happened. But you watch, you think about it, basically 30 years ago, 58 days. I mean, I'm 31. That's my whole life.
That's crazy.
And
That really
I have a
is.
question for you at the end. But I was pumped today about the game. I got to watch the game yesterday. They looked amazing.
What did they win by yesterday? Was it 4-0?
4-0. And they just
nuts.
And when you watch the Premier League, it's different than watching sometimes even the World Cup or the MLS, where the level of play is so high that the way they control the ball is just unbelievable.
It's
and the score was
absolutely
4-0, but the other team they weren't even touching the ball at all. They just controlled the whole game, and it was really needing sports. I had that tingling feeling, that. I was
back.
pumped, and then my son comes up to me. He's like, "You like Liverpool because of me." He tried to take credit for the win, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
I created you, so I guess that's how it works. I'll give you something." But let's get to our questions and answers, and we'll do a little different format today. We got a good number of questions.
So you did, which thank you, fans. Please keep bringing them in.
Keep
We
them
love
up.
this.
Keep them up. And some of the regulars from last week, which I was happy to see, and they kind of address different sports, and we can kind of talk about the question and then I guess that sport as well. So something we didn't get to last week, and if you want to read the question, we can touch on it right after that.
Yeah. So this one is from our buddy Dimitri.
Mahalo.
He's living in Hawaii right now. Mahalo.
Good for
Aloha.
him.
He says, Jets or Giants? Who has the better season?
All right, so I got the Giants schedule in front of me. I guess let's just go let's go week by week. I'll go week 1. I guess we'll both give our opinion on it, see where we get their records to.
Yeah.
I know last week we did say, you said 8-8, and I said 7-9 for the Giants. I didn't really look at their schedule per se, but for the Giants,
Same,
looking
just
overall, I think that's doable.
Yeah. I can definitely
So
agree with
week
that.
1, who do the Jets got?
Jets have the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park for week 1, which I think actually, dare I say, might be a bit of a tough matchup. I mean, the Bills are one of those sneaky teams. Their defense, I think, is pretty solid. And Josh Allen's surprisingly good. He always surprises people with his legs. I wouldn't be surprised if that one slipped away from the Jets week 1. I'm not fully sold on Adam Gase.
I think
that's really.
I think the Bills are the team to beat in that division with the loss of. I mean, I don't want to bet against the Patriots, but with the loss
you
of
can't
Tom
fully
Brady,
count them out. I'm personally saying that I think the Dolphins take the next step forward. I think especially with some of the additions they've made in the offseason, with just the way they've played the offseason, I think they're primed in a position to, if they don't win the division, people are going to take notice of them this year. I think the Dolphins make a statement this year, and I'll put my stamp of approval on that.
and any division game for the Jets is if the Dolphins are getting better, the Bills they're getting better as well. They have they added Stephon Diggs. You have the Patriots are there. They can plug anybody in that system now.
Yeah, Patriots are always going to be.
It's to be seen what the loss of Tom Brady does. The Jets are going to be in a dogfight for that division. To just win those games is going to be tough.
Honestly,
but 0-1, we can start him 0-1 week 1.
We're definitely gonna start him 0-1. I don't see things great for him here as I'm looking through the whole thing. I honestly think they might finish up around 6-10. One interesting thing to note: They have the Dolphins, then their bye week, then the Dolphins again, which seems a little mean to me. Like, why are you giving these teams back-to-back division games, then the bye? And it's they're Sunday. They're both Sunday games, so that's an interesting one.
Let's just go through the Jets schedule, I guess. Then we can go to the Giants. But who's their week 2?
So week 2 for them, sorry, I got to scroll back up. Oop, went too far. Is the San Francisco 49ers, fresh off the Super Bowl. I don't see that going well. The Colts with Phil Rivers follow that.
That's 0-2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jets fans, but
it might be 0-3. It's unless the Colts are really start off.
I mean,
spiral.
it's not even like a winter game either. You're talking about the beginning of the season, San Fran's coming to East Rutherford.
Yeah.
There's not, there's nothing on the Jets side in that. The 49ers, they're going to be
good.
They're going to be there.
I think they kind of come in a little bit hungry. I know they usually talk about a Super Bowl hangover. I think the Niners are going to come in a little hungry right there and really just kind of try and prove something.
So let's go to week 3. They're at Indianapolis. I mean, these are tough games.
Yeah.
The Colts, they don't have that quarterback stability when they had Andrew Luck. Even when they had Andrew Luck, he wasn't that stable.
They didn't put the pieces around him. I think Phil Rivers is an interesting move as a stopgap.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what their plan is for next year if they have the capital to trade up and try and get someone like Trevor Lawrence. But I think Jacoby Brissett was pretty solid for them overall.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised that they went out and felt that they had to get Rivers, who's honestly an aging star, for lack of a better word.
Right. And I don't want to say this, but this could be another, they could start the season 0-3. And if you're 0-3 and you're the Jets and the media is on top of you, I mean, the coach could be feeling the heat. I don't think they're gonna pull a trigger there, but
no, I think if they don't have a winning season by the end of the year, though, that's what I mean. If they fall out of complete contention by the bye week, I wouldn't be shocked if they say goodbye to Gase.
Yeah, I mean the Colts are definitely a contender in the AFC. I think the Jets can be a contender, but I just like the Colts better in that game at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
With that offense, the addition of Phillip Rivers, I just think it's gonna be they're gonna be tougher to beat.
Yeah. Well, and then who else did they get? They got someone else. There's another big name I thought went to the Colts this season.
And if you could look that up while we're doing this, we can get back to that.
As a quarterback?
Someone else. No, just another offseason. I could have sworn they had someone else big go to the Colts this year, or I could just be thinking of. Did they draft a running back? They got someone. This is going to bug me now.
I used to live in Indianapolis, and I used to keep up with the Colts, but I haven't. The only they have my main man, Quentin Nelson from Notre Dame.
Quentin Nelson's. And he grew up in the area, too.
Yeah.
He's a Jersey boy originally. Yeah, I actually...
He's a big man.
Got into a friendly argument with a couple of my friends about who the Giants should draft at number 2 a couple of years ago, and they were fervent. They're like, oh, Quentin Nelson. I'm like, listen, Quentin Nelson's awesome. Take nothing away from him. But Saquon Barkley is going to change the face of this entire team. That's what we've got to go with. Granted, yes, Quentin Nelson's probably the best guard prospect to come out in years, but a guard's not going to change the face of the entire franchise. We need Saquon, and then we've got to build around him, and that's what Gettleman finally did this offseason with, revamping the line. So I'm hoping, that plays out the right way, and we just kind of see a big change of pace for the Giants.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Jets fans, that we're talking about more Giants stuff over top of you, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So Matt, they have D-tackled DeForest Buckner. They got
that was
of course,
a solid one.
Phillip Rivers, Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver.
Okay, yeah, that was their big draft pick.
Yeah.
So they're building that offense up.
Yeah, they're definitely gearing up, and having DeForest as on that line, that's kind of scary too. I feel like he's one of those sneaky good guys. You don't always hear his name, but he's still been very productive.
He's a solid player. He's
years.
there.
Yeah.
He's there. He's gonna hold down that defensive line, and the Colts are out in pieces. They're gonna be. Yeah, they could be a contender when it comes December. Denver Broncos. They're visiting MetLife.
Yeah, I don't see that going well. I think they added for lack of a better word, a shit ton of weapons for Drew Lock. You got Melvin Gordon there now. They drafted Jerry Jeudy. Cortland Sutton's coming off a pretty solid rookie season. That's going to be a scary team to go up against.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably and it's what is that, Thursday night game? I think it's probably an more even matchup. And now I'm just feeling bad, I guess, for the Jets that we started them 0-3. I don't know if I want to get 0-4.
Honestly, I don't know if the rest of their schedule.
I think that's a toss-up game. I think that's a toss-up game.
That's
I think
their best
I think the
chance
Jets
for
could
a
pull.
win,
I think the Jets could pull off a win there. start 1-3, and then they move to the next Sunday against the Cardinals, which
That speaking of scary stacked offenses,
yeah,
like
DeAndre Hopkins.
yeah, what do you do? What do you do to stop DeAndre Hopkins?
I got to see the Cardinals play against the Giants last year, and the Giants competed with them. So I think the Cardinals did add the big name, but I don't know if they have defensively, if they have all the pieces.
They don't. I agree with that.
And that's another game where you could say the Jets could win, but what's your gut feeling on that?
I'm kind of leaning. Excuse me. I'm kind of leaning Cardinals, but you do have a very good point about their defense. That's another one. Wow, excuse me.
It's the beer.
It's the beer.
Red,
it's this
Red
delicious
Tank
beer that just my body just wants more of. So I keep just hiccuping here. I think their best chances for a win so far though are against the Broncos and Cardinals. Whether or not they pull it off obviously remains to be seen.
All right, we'll give them the
But
benefit of the
We'll
doubt.
give them the benefit of the doubt, given these 2 wins right here. So they're standing at what, 3-2 now? I mean,
two and
2-3.
2-3. So next up, they're going to Los Angeles to face the Chargers.
That Chargers defense is scary.
Yeah, and they add Tyrod Taylor, I believe, currently is going to start at a quarterback. They also drafted Justin Herbert.
And I wouldn't be shocked if there's still time for them to pull someone like Cam Newton in, which would really just be terrifying, for that offense.
They have Eckler.
Yep. And they still got is it Justin Jefferson or Jackson Jefferson? I forget.
Justin Jackson.
Justin Jackson. I knew it was something. I was like something
you were
like
on
that.
the
J's, yeah. Which he was electric at parts of last year too. So I think that's a team that's just kind of also loaded up with weapons, especially on defense. They got one of the Bosa's there. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah,
but I
the
don't
Jets
think
schedule
the Jets get that.
the
it's
Jets
brutal.
have a similar schedule, and another question about this to Tampa Bay, where they have a tough schedule, and it's just tough seeing them like have a winning record.
Yeah.
Even be 500 when you look at some of the teams they're going to have to play. If they chalk up a loss against the Chargers, they're 2-4, and they have to play division rival Buffalo Bills the next week. And
then this game they're not going to win the week after that, Sunday, November 1st at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and I think so. You're looking at 2-4. They play the Bills again. I think the Bills are going to beat them. I think the Bills are going to be the team in that division. What do you think? You think they're?
I could see the
it's
Bills
tough to beat a
running with the
division
big ones,
rival, but
yeah, it's still. I mean, yeah, there's always something to be said for a rivalry game, but I don't know if they can beat the Bills there. I really don't.
So you're 2 what is that now? 2-5.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's 2-6. The Chiefs could go undefeated this year. I wouldn't even be shocked.
Look, we'll give them I think they can pull a game against the Patriots at home.
Yes,
Monday
I do
night
agree
game.
with that. I think they can. I think they've got it in them. They'll have the juice. They'll have the fans there. No Tom Brady. I think they might be able to overwhelm whoever's starting for the Patriots at that point.
Could that give them some momentum? They win that Monday night game. They're 3-6. They got to go to Miami.
Yeah, they fly to Miami.
I think they can beat the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins have to prove that they can contend.
Well, and here's a big thing of note is that those are both primetime games. We're talking a Monday night game and then a Sunday afternoon game, 4:05. That could be something, if they can find a way to kind of ride the lightning with a primetime game, all eyes on them, that could be just the push they need. Then they get a bye week and they face the Dolphins again. So I see what you're saying, where it's going to be, neck and neck with the Dolphins, but I kind of think they go 1-for-1 at best with that matchup.
So what's that?
So it's 3-6, or does that be 3-7?
I think that's, let's see here. So we had this is going to be the hardest part of the podcast, calculating the wins.
Math, not our level of expertise.
We had the loss to the Bills, loss to the 49ers, it was 0-3, 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, 2-6, win. So you're at 4-6. You hit the bye week. You think they can beat the Dolphins again? I mean, I don't.
I think they beat the Dolphins once. I think
okay.
Whichever team wins.
So
the
you're
first
at 4.
time
You're at 4-7.
So we're 4-7. Then they face the Raiders, which is probably their best matchup all season.
Yeah.
So I'd say they win that one.
Okay.
So they're 5-7. So they're looking like, hold on, they could potentially right the ship and go on a little bit of a tear here, but they've got to go up against the 12th man fans at CenturyLink Field against the
Russell
Seattle
Wilson.
Seahawks.
Solid. They have a great. They're deep. They were known for their defense, and it seems that their offense is the thing that's kind of steering the ship right now.
Well, and not to mention, I think they're one of the teams in talks of bringing in. There's rumors, at least, of them looking at Antonio Brown, which
Okay. I
would
mean,
be
wow.
terrifying for that offense. Which, granted, everything, like I said, it's a rumor at this point.
Right.
That's just the one that stuck out to me because I'm like, fuck. If he goes
That's
to
the
the
guy that
Seahawks,
fits.
like,
That's what they need. They can
Yeah.
fit him in that slot
Exactly,
position
and that
because
would
you have
be-
you have a DK Metcalf that's massive.
yeah,
that
he's going to be
throwing to.
great in the red zone, and he's good up and down the field too. I had him
Oh,
in fantasy last year; he did work. But if you got someone like Antonio Brown that can really just take the attention off of Metcalf, that's going to open up the whole offense for you. And they still got Tyler Lockett, who's shockingly good and very underrated for some reason.
So you lose at the Seahawks. You're 5-8. You got to go to the Rams. Who the Rams? They obviously they had like the Super Bowl hangover. They kind of
Yeah.
fell off a little bit. They got rid of Todd Gurley. They
they're
still
all on
have
Malcolm
a lot
Brown
of the
team.
pieces there though. It's tough to see the Jets go to Los Angeles for the second time.
Yeah,
And win, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's the first game in LA against the Chargers. Yeah, it is.
Spending a lot of time in sunny
God,
California.
that is brutal, man. Yeah, that's a tough one.
So I mean, if they lose that, they're 5-9, and now they have to do something to save the season.
yeah,
I mean, we already gave them a win against the Patriots and the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to be competing for a playoff spot at that point.
and the Browns, it can never go understated how many weapons the Browns have. It's just if Baker Mayfield and whoever their new coach is, Kevin Stefanski, I think,
Yeah.
can kind of awaken all that latent potential there. That's a very scary team.
So, I mean, on a good note, you could either finish the season 7-9. I mean, I think they can win one of those games.
Yeah.
I think maybe they can upset. I mean, they could upset the Browns. They could play the spoiler special.
I mean, they could have said that. Yeah. And that's a home game, too. You know what? We're going to say 7-9 for the final or 8-8, do you think?
I mean, no, they can't even get to. They wouldn't be able.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't. Oh, yeah, oh my
if they
God.
win the
Duh.
last,
Yeah,
if
if
they
they get
win the
7-9
last two,
already.
they're going 7-9.
Yeah. But I'm saying, if
I think
they
you're going to see
win against the
6
Rams,
six
like,
and
yeah.
10. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and obviously this is all based on
Yeah,
what
it's
we
all
know.
conjecture. I'm going to give them 7-9. I'm going to give the
Okay.
Rams, the Jets 7-9 here.
Why Am I a Nerd podcast network has been brought to you by our sponsor, Me Moms. The best breakfast and lunch down the Jersey Shore with 3 great locations in Wall Township, Middletown, and Brick, New Jersey. Me Moms specializes in unique and fun takes on your traditional lunch and breakfast items. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find more information at www.memoms.com. Let's go to the good guys.
Yeah.
Where's
The Big Brother team.
Ann? I think I need you to drop me that other schedule, please.
Yep,
Thank you, sir.
got you both.
Boom.
Appreciate it.
Technology.
Gotta love this guy, man. Let's give a shout out to the Italian right now. Doing
Man,
work.
stats. He goes from comics to sports. He doesn't miss a beat.
Does everything.
I bring him a beer. I think that's why he does the good work. All right, so we start off Pittsburgh Steelers, Monday night, MetLife Stadium.
Love that we're not opening against the Cowboys for once. It's just not that I don't love the rivalry
We
games.
saved the
It's just
best.
nice to
We
have
saved the
something
best
different.
for last.
Yeah. I honestly think this is a win for the Giants. I don't know who they're going to be trotting out at quarterback. I think Roethlisberger's time is definitely coming to an end, but I don't think Rudolph's the answer either. Though I don't think he necessarily got a fair shake at the end of the year. But I think the Giants take this one.
I agree.
Just
I
start
think
off the jump
yeah,
there
I
on a
think
good
I think
note.
1-0. I think they're gonna. I think people are gonna try to roll with Pittsburgh just because you got Roethlisberger. It's
Yep.
the same guys. You got Juju. There's always when you have Roethlisberger, they just think they're gonna win. They're gonna go all the way. And I just think the Giants are gonna have a different team, different personality. I think they're gonna shock a lot of people week 1 and pull off the win.
Very much agree.
I can see them winning at the Chicago Bears too.
I honestly see that too, and because I think there's still going to be some questions about quarterback at that point. I don't know if they're going to roll with Foles or if they're going to try to give Trubisky a couple weeks
I think
grace
Foles
period.
is taking the reins on that one.
Well, even if he does, I think he's going to live and die by the run game, which, for all the shit I give Gettleman, is one thing we're very strong against. I think we're going to be able to stop David Montgomery, and Tariq Cohen might get a couple away just
Yeah,
because
but
he's
their
tiny.
offense last year
But
was
Putrid.
brutal to
Yeah,
watch.
so I think if we can stop the run, we can pretty much shut down their offense because I don't think they're going to be able to play off it as well. They're not going to have enough time. The quarterback play isn't strong enough. I think that's another win as well.
Yeah, and with the improved offensive line, hopefully the Giants, and hopefully we see with the additions that it's an improved offensive line play. I think that we can score some points, enough points to win that game.
Yeah.
San Francisco, can't see the Giants winning that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Although it is a home game, there is something to be said for that. Not that the Giants have ever been. I feel like we've never been great with a home field advantage.
Right.
We've usually been better on the road. There is something to be said for that. This time in particular against the Niners, and that is kind of an old school Giants rivalry. I feel like in the 90s they were like an unspoken, rival.
Yeah, and I remember that even from when we talked about the playoff run last week was when they go to San Francisco and they pull out that win.
Yep.
They lost. I remember them losing a couple playoff games against San Francisco, but that is an old rivalry that I like to see, and I'm glad we're playing them. I mean, maybe we can shoot to try to get to that game if
that would be a good target,
even if we stand outside the stadium and tailgate. That might be the good one to go to.
I agree.
All right, so 2-1. Now we're going to Los Angeles. I think this game's a toss up. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just high on the Giants, and I'm trying to think of the record I said. I said 7-9, and then I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like
looking at the schedule. I'm feeling a lot more confident. I think we get them. I really do. I think Judge, just comes out with a great game plan. We have a hot start to the season, which is something that they would need.
Yeah.
I think they need to get that confidence under. They need to get some wins. Saquon, if we get the wins, Saquon automatically feels better because I think when the team's losing, he tries to do too much, which he's more than capable of doing.
Right.
But, it's the reason he rushed back from injury last year.
All right, so, I mean, if we're going 3-1, and then we go into the division rivalry brutal stretch, at Dallas, shout out to the Italian. Woo! When I think of the division games, I'm not even looking at the opponents. I think we're just going to split. Like, best case scenario is we end up 3-3.
Yeah, this is really tough just because we've had a brutal time with our division rivals recently. The last couple of years have been really bad. I'm 50-50 on the Cowboys here because, yes, we do have Jason Garrett. He obviously knows these guys in and out better than damn near anybody else in the league.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that.
We really haven't, yeah.
And we have the Italian right here. I'd like to get his opinion.
Feel free to.
We're gonna bring this one into overtime. Not yet though. I just can't see us being at we're 3-1. They're riding high. I could see us going to Dallas and throwing up a fluke there.
I would love to see that. I think the offensive additions they made are scary, but I'm not confident in Mike McCarthy and executing with all the weapons that he has. I don't think that was the best hire for the Cowboys. I think he was a little bit, and people can disagree with me on this, but I think considering he had Aaron Rodgers before and they couldn't really figure out, how to stick to one running back.
Right.
They didn't bring in any really great receivers for him there aside from Devontae Adams. I'm not in love with McCarthy's ability to scheme. So I kind of think the Cowboys might be good, but not as good as people think they're going to be. I think the hype train's kind of going to run away from the station, and they're not going to be on board.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree. But if we're rolling with that best case scenario, they split, I could see that being one of the games they lose, because I do think we have a better shot at the end of the year, last game of the season against Dallas at home. Than I mean, either way, like, it's a advantage that we play in cold weather, but when we go to Dallas, the Giants' offense usually always shows out.
Yeah.
Now, their defense never shows up, so that's also a reason that we've lost them a lot in the past. I don't know. I think if we're looking best case scenario 3-3 in the division, I think we probably have to mark this one as a loss, unless we mark the last one as a loss. I don't know. I could see us splitting with the Cowboys. I don't think we're going to beat them twice.
No, I agree. I don't think we beat them twice either. I think whoever wins the first time is going to get all the spite of God the second time. Whichever team loses is going to come back with a vengeance for round 2.
All right, so let's just hypothetically say we lose the first matchup. So then we're
3-2.
3-2. We got the Redskins at home. I think I'm not afraid of the Redskins. I know they do have young talent. They just never seem to put it together.
Speaking of young talent, though, I'm terrified of Chase Young. We've got the damn Predator on the other side. And something that goes very understated with this team, all of their defensive line is full of first-round picks. That's kind of terrifying. Like, their defensive line is very, very good. That's a great defensive front. I'm not super scared of their offense unless Darius Geis wakes up and somehow the injuries are gone, permanently.
Yeah. I don't know. Their offense they haven't put together a solid offense. I agree.
There's nothing.
Their defense, like you said, is usually they have some playmakers there.
And I could see them keeping it close, and this I hate Ohio State so much, and Dwayne Haskins has ruined my life before. I could see him pissing me off, but I kind of think we take this one.
All right, so we're sitting, 4-2?
Correct.
Philadelphia,
Fuck
Thursday
the
night
Eagles.
game.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Especially
I agree.
Thursday
Sorry,
night.
sorry, babe.
Yeah,
Fuck
no,
the Eagles.
everybody, we're all...
I don't know. I just don't. Again, like, it's the away games that scare me for some reason.
And the Thursday night games against the Eagles, we've never had luck with. I think this is a loss, but so help me God, do I hate the Eagles so much. Oh God, I just can't stand them.
So we're at 4-3. All right, we're gonna talk about this team later, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady and Gronk come to MetLife.
Monday Night Football.
First time playing Tom Brady without Eli.
Yeah, first time we're playing Tom Brady without the Patriots.
Yeah. Very true.
I do think I think we could win this game just because we got the Joe Judge factor. I mean, he knows these guys. Not that he knows the offense Tampa Bay is going to run, but the Giants have had Tom Brady's number in the past. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the only thing when we talk about their schedule, and we're not going to break it down, but they do have a tough schedule. And this might be a game that they kind of take a little lighter.
Well, this I think is going to be a shootout, honestly. I can see
similar
this
to
being
last
the
year.
kind of thing, where it's like, okay, Godwin gets an early touchdown. Saquon has a big run. Evans gets a touchdown. Slayton has a bomb drop to him perfectly by Danny Dimes. Maybe Gronk gets in one or two because we always get killed by tight ends. But this is one game that I can see being a legit shootout. I think if we're going to have one super high-scoring game of the year, it'll probably be this one.
So what are you feeling? Do you think the Giants can pull off a W, or do you think Tom Brady gets the last laugh?
Tried and true. I'm going Giants blue for the W.
All right.
Let's go.
You heard it here first. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So
I'm pumped up. I want to watch this right now. I might have to sim this on Madden later just to get a taste.
Sack Tom Brady as much as you can. Where are we at here? What's our record here now?
6-2.
Thank you. 6-2.
6-2. Okay,
That's
so
solid, better than we've had in a while. Still got a couple weeks before the bye.
I mean, we're positive Giants fans, so if you want to hear some positive Giants news, you got to come here and listen to it first.
Damn
because
right.
I don't think you're gonna get a 6-2 record from anybody else.
No, nobody else is gonna give you that. People are gonna tell you we're losing every game after that.
At the Redskins,
it does get a little tough. Yeah,
at the Redskins. I mean, there's not. I know they have crazy fans at the game, but we're probably not going to have any fans in the seats. So
true.
That eliminates a big factor.
What? That's something I didn't consider. That could be a big factor with that game against the Eagles.
Yeah.
If there's no fans in
right.
the seats, that could be a big deal.
We could probably talk about this in a later episode. Which sport would be most affected without fans? And I think football's probably
not.
I mean, football would probably be number one for the players watching it. I think like the NBA is going to be bizarre to watch.
Oh yeah,
fans.
it's gonna be just quiet. You just hear the ball dribbling the whole time.
But what do you think? So we're going at the Redskins.
I think we take that one. I don't know if it's going to be easy fought just because their defensive line is so scary, but I think our offense is superior. I think we can outlast them.
Yeah.
Is really what it would come down to.
Man, I mean, our record, we're already at 7 wins. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
We got it. The Giants are back.
All right, so if we want to keep the 3-3 division record, I think we're going to have to take another loss at the Eagles, unfortunately.
Yeah, which, unfortunately, I can see that too. It's just, God, I hate them so much.
So 7-3, going to the bye week, come back at Cincinnati.
I think we take that.
Yeah, we got first round draft pick, number 1 pick, Joe.
Yeah, but their offensive line still has some question marks.
I think you have. That's a must-win game. If we don't win that game, then we're in trouble because we have a lot.
And that secures the winning season for Judge in his first year. Which, when was the last time we've had that with the head coach? Like for a first overall winning season, like it was because McAdoo didn't have that as first. I think it was his second year they had the winning season.
Ben McAdoo.
Fuck Ben McAdoo. Thank you.
Sorry, and also Bob McAdoo.
Bob McAdoo, I don't know who you are, but fuck you too. You shouldn't have that name.
Yeah, I think we have to win against Cincinnati, so that would be 8-3.
Yeah.
I don't think we beat the Seahawks in Seattle.
No, I agree with that.
That's an 8-4.
This might come as a shock. I don't know that we beat the Cardinals. So we have 4 games left. We have the Cardinals, the Browns, the Ravens, and Dallas. I think we drop at least 2. We might drop 3 of those. See, because here's
I
what's
think we
scary.
dropped. I think we dropped 3 of those too.
Because here's what's scary. The Cardinals could show up, but it's December and it's in New York. So that's why I'm giving that a little bit of a 50-50. I
Right.
could just see the fact that they have so many passing weapons and we're not great against the pass. I could see us getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, if we're calling him Dan Dimes now because he put on some
Oh,
weight.
yeah, he put on
Yeah.
10 pounds of
He's a
muscle.
big
This
man.
is Dan.
He's
like-
grown up, so we're calling him Dan now. He couldn't hold on to the ball against the Cardinals. I mean, it was pouring rain. I was at the
Yeah.
game. If he
And
held onto the
hopefully he
ball,
corrects that.
they
I
had
mean,
a shot at
maybe
the end.
maybe all the muscles just in his throwing hand, and he can just grip the ball.
He's
like
just
going to
be stiff arming guys and tossing bombs down the field. Yeah, I mean that's a toss up game for me. So, if we say they're gonna, I mean, if you say there's 4 games left and you think we're gonna drop the last 3, I mean we're gonna drop the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't think
we're beating at Baltimore.
No, I don't think so. And call me crazy, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to lose his fucking mind in the game against the Giants, on December 20th. He's going to go absolutely batshit insane against us, and I can't even blame him for it.
Like Josh Norman fighting insane.
No, not even. I mean, like he's going to put up his best game that he's had in
All right,
years.
so we booked the Let's take the Cardinals as a win because I think we could beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
If we can't beat the Cardinals this year, another year for Danny Dimes. I mean, sorry, Dan Dimes. I apologize, Dan.
I think the
Kyler
Browns
Murray's
give us
also
a
in his
serious
second
fight.
year with a
Yeah.
new weapon, DeAndre Hopkins. I just think the Giants can pull off the win there.
They can. I think it's going to be tough, but I think the weather actually might give us an advantage there. In hindsight.
And then dropping the last 3 games is not.
That's not what you
ideal.
want to see.
It's
That's
not
what you
ideal,
wanna
but I
see.
think that brings us to 9-7, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, it's
that's better than we predicted last week. I said 7-9.
Yeah.
You said 8-8. 9-7. Circa 2000,
2011. It worked out.
I
We'll
don't
see
know.
if they can make that push. I don't know.
But I mean, you have to think if they're 9-7. We already lost to the Cowboys once, and we lost to the Eagles twice. What is their record going to be?
Yeah, is
Where
that
are we
good
sitting
enough
in
to
that
get
division?
a wild card spot? Is it good enough to win the division? I doubt it. Is it good enough to
But
make a wild card spot?
That
Maybe.
would mark the season as a success for me.
100%.
If they can do
If they
that.
have a winning record, if they finish 8-8, I'm happy with the season. I would obviously love to see a playoff run, but that's good momentum going forward. It's got me things to be excited for. It's going to eventually get me to buy season tickets, which my cousin and I were considering for a little bit before the pandemic happened. Because they're surprisingly cheap.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you have to, besides like the personal seat license.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The
They're-
PSLs actually aren't that, because you can break
I
it
bet
up
you
over
people are trying to get
multiple
rid of
years.
them right now too.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Just to add to the schedules real quick,
Yeah.
the Giants' schedule is listed as the 26th toughest schedule of
So
the
that's
season.
okay.
Did you not hear what we just said? Dan Dimes put on 10 pounds of
10
muscle.
times. He's 230,
Yeah.
But also, the Jets have the second toughest schedule.
and I think that reflects in the record we gave
Yeah.
them. I mean,
The Jets have a
and then maybe we
brutal
were being
matchup.
nice.
Yeah, we gave them a couple.
Yeah.
And the Jets
I was
have a
feeling bad for
brutal
them.
matchup.
I'm not trying to scare the Jets fans away. I do have a lot of friends that are Jets fans, unfortunately.
Yeah,
for
my
them.
dad's a Jets fan, and it's not
But
looking great.
I
for
think
them.
we're trying to be realistic here. Maybe we're a little positive on the Giants, but I do think it's a realistic thing that they can turn this around this season.
I think we've both been flirting with the 8-8 number. You said 7-9. I said 8-8 initially. Our analysis here was 9-7. So I think it's very likely they have a winning season.
And give
for
or
all
take
intents and
2
purposes.
games. I mean, those records are interchangeable.
Yeah, and who knows?
like
They
they
could-
could lose to Tampa Bay and they
Yep.
could be 8-8. They could win against Philadelphia. They could stay at 9. Whatever
They
it
can
is.
win it. We can sweep the Cowboys.
There's a lot of games
Yeah,
that are 50-50 games.
Probably not.
I was waiting
All
for
right,
something
let's
from you.
bold prediction. I know we said they're going to lose one game. They sweep the Cowboys this year. Let's go.
Boom, let's go.
Let's go. What do you think about that, Italian?
Absolutely not.
They sweep the Cowboys.
Come
What are
on.
we, 10-6? I think that's a good
Fucking
enough
kidding
position.
Zeke's going to have more rushing yards than Saquon. Both games.
Oh, well, let's get up to let's go to the next question, Ant.
All right. Are the Bucs going to be a playoff team with the 2 new additions? How big of an impact will Brady have?
I looked at their schedule, and we're not going to break it down, but I mean, and if you want to give us some of the tough games, I know they have the Chiefs, they have the Vikings, they obviously have to play the Saints twice. Look, the Panthers, new coach, no Cam Newton, but they still have one of the top weapons in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey, and it's a division game.
I mean, the Saints are still alive in that division
Yeah.
too, and they want to make a push while they still have Breeze there.
And do you have any notable games that they have to?
Yeah, I mean, they're coming off pretty strong playing the Saints at home, the first game of the season. So,
Yeah, that's-
I mean, you have to make a pretty a name for yourself right there.
They have some tough games, and I just don't. I mean, I think they can get in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win the division. I do think the Saints are going to win the division. I can see them. I can see them getting in as a wild card team, but I think with their schedule, I think they also have to play the Packers.
Yes,
they have a tough schedule: Chiefs,
And
Packers, Vikings,
Packers
Saints.
with a pissed off Aaron Rodgers this year, which
Yes.
can't go understated. Aaron Rodgers is one of those guys that will beat you out of spite just because he's in a bad mood that day. So I think that's a major factor.
What's the second part of that question, Anthony?
Second part. This is also from Dimitri, by the way. Mahalo.
Dimitri, mahalo.
What numbers will Gronk put up, and will he be worthy of a fantasy pick?
I think he's 100% going to be.
He's going to put up numbers.
He's going to
sure.
get picked in fantasy.
Yeah. The thing is, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and there's a lot of big mouths to feed because you can use Gronk as a decoy, you can use Evans as a decoy once you get into the red zone.
Yeah.
So I think Brady's going to have his picks. This might be one of his best touchdown years, honestly, because he's never had this kind of bevy of weapons. You still got Chris Godwin tearing up the slot, and like I said, whoever they plug in, one of the three of us could go and play running back for them
Cameron
and be
James.
worthy of
Throw Cameron James out there.
Yeah, we can get Cameron out there.
What? Me? Who?
Like, Cameron, just run straight. He's going to get like 20 yards because everyone's defending the pass.
One thing I think to consider with Gronk is his health. He took the what is it, whole season off, or was it more than a season?
It might have
one season.
It was at least one season.
I mean, he definitely slimmed up big time.
Yeah,
like he definitely maybe his body healed, but he just had so many injuries. And I don't know if you could see his games played each season.
Yeah. So 2013 and 2016 were his least amount of games played. He played 7 in 2013 and 8 in 2016. Wow. 2013, I'm pretty sure, was his elbow injury, and the 2016 was his back surgery.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about his health. Like, I know he took the year off, and I know he says he feels great.
It's good time to heal. But I think he might be. The scary thing is he might not be as strong. He's not going to have the muscle mass, but he might be faster. Which
I agree.
A whole nother thing,
I agree.
You know?
I just think you got to see, like, can he take a hit? Like, once he gets hit, is something going to flare up? Because he hasn't done it. Like I said, he hasn't done it for a year. And until you get back out there and actually put the pads on, and start taking the abuse to your body, you really don't know.
Time to put it back up, and I think he does have that. He's already got that connection with Brady. There's a reason he got dragged out of retirement. It could be interesting. I do think just because tight end's such a slim position, he's obviously worth the pickup. The one thing that gives me a little bit of pause, though, is that they had O.J. Howard last year. They had Cameron Brate last year. So they've got 3 legitimate tight ends now. And it's just with Arian's system, he doesn't really use a tight end a lot. So we'll see kind of because they're going to force the ball to Gronk a little bit. They have to.
He's going to have the chemistry with him. I think in the beginning of the season, you'll see the ball go a lot his way. I mean, they're going to have an explosive offense. There's no doubt about it.
For sure.
Their defense, I don't know that much about their defense, but from what I do know, they have a lot of young players. And
we got our boy JPP over there still. Which
I mean, hey, he had a decent season for them.
Good old firecracker.
Hey,
I didn't think about that until recently. Actually, I wonder if him and Brady are having any conversations. Like, hey, remember that Super Bowl? How many times did I get you there?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Bucs are gonna have a tough time. I think they have obviously they have the potential for a playoff team. I just think with that schedule though, it's gonna be a really long season for them to try to grind it out, make it to the playoffs. Hopefully Gronk can stay healthy for them, and I mean, who doesn't want to watch Tom Brady throw to Gronk? I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And the other teams in the divisions, Todd Gurley went to the Falcons. Jameis Winston's backing up Drew Brees.
Yeah, which maybe he'll learn how to not turn it over. I mean,
the Saints added
the same colors.
Saints added Emmanuel Sanders. I think that helps. That gives them another weapon. Which
that was something very unexpected. I did not see that coming.
I mean, he came off that Achilles injury and he had a good end of the year last year.
He's like our age.
49ers.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I think they're going to be sitting behind the Saints in that division. I don't know. I mean, injuries, whatever have you might come up, but it's still going to be a tough grind. All right. Let's go to the next question and we do a little fantasy talk here.
Ooh, love this.
Okay. McCaffrey is number 1, but rank your top 10.
Who said McCaffrey is number one?
That's what our. Do you have a different number one? Would
Oh
you
yeah,
disagree
my
with
number one is my number 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 10. It's Saquon motherfucking Barkley. There's
Okay.
no question he's the best back in the league, and I think he would have put up some phenomenal numbers last year had he not gotten hurt.
I have Saquon number 2, and look, I'm just trying to be realistic. He had a tough season last year. I think he bounces back with a better offensive line. He only had 6 rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to go back to his rookie year where he surprised everybody.
He might exceed that.
And
he's been putting on weight too.
I think he could end up being the number 1 running back this year. For me, where do you have Christian McCaffrey?
I have Christian McCaffrey too.
Okay, so we have the same, just flip flop.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, 19 total touchdowns.
Oh, Christian McCaffrey.
2 seasons with over 100 catches.
He's just, what a ridiculous player, and just like good for him because like his workouts are completely insane. His cardio is something that would give me nightmares. And I ran track and cross country in high school, and he's a madman. You know, like how many players? I think it's 2 other players in history have done what he's done.
Yeah, he's a freak.
It's insane. Like,
and before we go down the list, these are our rankings for PPR. PPR, because I think this year it's gonna affect the rankings more than usual.
I agree.
I think I have some bold picks on here. I definitely think for me, number 3 to 6 is interchangeable, and number 7 and 8 could be. I mean, there's a lot that I think you're going to see change.
So we've knocked out 1 and 2. Flip flops with Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey. Who do you have at number 3?
Man, so we're talking PPR, and the guy that had the best receiving statistical season last year, Michael Thomas, I have him in as number 3.
Interesting.
He had 149 catches, 1,700 yards.
Yeah.
It's tough. My big thing when I look at fantasy is regression and progression. Do I think Christian McCaffrey is gonna touch those numbers again? I think he's gonna. I think he'll be close. Do I think Michael Thomas at my number 3 spot is gonna do the same thing?
Oh, they're gonna force the ball to him right and left.
This is their year. Drew Brees is on his last legs. I think they're gonna try to do the same thing they did last year. And the guy's hands are, I know he's a Ohio State dude.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit for that.
But look, we won't judge you on your past. No. Michael Thomas. But I have him at number 3. I think in the first round you need guarantees, and I think Michael Thomas is as big of a guarantee as you can get.
I agree with that.
Do you have him on your list?
I have him on my list, but I have Ezekiel Elliott as number 3.
Okay.
Feed Zeke.
He's hungry.
Who also went to these fucking Buckeyes. These goddamn Buckeyes. I hate them so much, but I gotta give credit where credit's due. They're finding talent and they're fostering it. But fuck them. Fuck them right in their butts.
What do you like? What do you like about Zeke at number 3? I think for me, I have Zeke at number 5, but like I said, 3 to
6 is a little.
It's interchangeable. Zeke's consistent. The guy gets 300 carries a year. He's getting more targets in the passing game. So his offensive line is solid. You know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
and I have him at number 5 because I think at 5 he's like the same thing as Michael Thomas. He's kind of like a guarantee.
Interesting. Because bringing that up, I have my number 4 pick is actually Michael Thomas. For everything you just listed, I'm just personally a running back guy. I think your team lives and dies by the run when it comes to fantasy. So I think PPR league though, Michael Thomas is that dude. Yeah.
So just to recap, number 1 I have McCaffrey. You have Saquon. Number 2, you have McCaffrey. I have Saquon. Number 3, I have Michael Thomas. You have Zeke. Yep. And you said Michael Thomas was your number 4?
Correct.
At number 4, bounce back season, 24 years old, I have Alvin Kamara.
Interesting.
And according to him, he played hurt all last season with multiple injuries.
Well, he had a shoulder injury for a while.
We're talking PPR. He's 24 years old. He gets the targets in the passing game.
God, how is he that young?
I don't know.
That's insane.
He was if you picked him up his rookie year, he was a league winner.
A stud. Yeah,
he was a league winner.
Nobody.
But
people
I see him having a bounce back season, and potential wise, he's a big risk if you take him that high. But potential wise, he could finish as number 1. He really could.
I picked him up later in my my dynasty league. I traded for him, so I'm hoping that pays some dividends this year.
So who do you have at number 5 for you?
Number 5 for me is actually Dalvin Cook, who, if he holds out, is going to be a question mark because I think he's an idiot for doing that. He's played one, full season Like, what are you doing? Everyone knows how good you are. Everyone knows how explosive you are. But if you want to get paid, you need to be on the field. You can't just say, I've had one
100%.
good season, give me the money.
Yeah, and you guys know I have Zeke at number 5. I have Dalvin Cook at number 6. Like I said, interchangeable. They're really close because
I agree with that.
I don't know what the Vikings are going to do for offense. They lose the offensive coordinator to the Browns. My only concern with Dalvin Cook is the injuries. He lost that whole season to an injury, and then everyone last year was like, Dalvin Cook, and I was like a little hesitant.
Same.
But
injuries scare me.
he did at the end of the year start to break down, and he wasn't playing as much, which probably hurt a lot of teams that rode him all year.
If you're going to get him, you've got to handcuff him. You need to get Alexander Madison in there too and just be ready to throw him in as needed.
100%. Who do you have at number 6?
Number 6, I have Derrick Henry.
Okay.
So I know our friend upstairs, Cam's going to be pretty excited about that, our resident Titans fan.
I want to get a picture like Derrick Henry just like carrying Cam around, like put him on a backpack.
Me and Cameron went to the Titans Giants game, and that was brutal. It was nothing but rain. Derrick Henry ran all over us.
Good thing for those club seats, I heard you.
We got very lucky with the club seats. That was a great call. We got to run out of time here. So
look, if we have to do the same thing we did last week, do a little overtime.
Yep.
We like to talk our Giants. We like to talk our football.
Yeah, we can't go wrong with this.
Let's finish our list and see where we're at. We can go. If we have to go over a little over.
You want to just go through your last 4 there, and I'll do my last.
Yeah. So I have number 7. I have Devontae Adams. He missed 4 games last year, and he just finished under 1,000 yards.
Crazy.
Okay, he's the main target for Aaron Rodgers. The previous 3 years. Prior to last year, he had double-digit touchdowns. Last year, he had 5. I'm looking – a lot of my guys that you'll hear on my list, I'm looking for progression. Bounce back season. Devontae Adams, he's the guy. He's the number 1 guy. I think he's going to come back to his form. I think he's going to put up 10 to 12 touchdowns, 1,200 to 1,400 yards, and I think he's a solid, in PPR format, solid point getter for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Number 8, I have Tyreek Hill, which could be interesting to a lot of people.
That is interesting.
He also missed 4 games.
But that's because he was being a piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
I do not like, as a human being, I don't like Tyreek Hill at all. I'm not ashamed to say.
Right, we're against Tyreek Hill as a person, as a player.
Yeah, as a player, he's good.
I
personally won't draft him, but I can understand why people do.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily who I think I'm going to draft. This is just who
the
I
top
think,
10 productivity.
Yeah, and
overall.
I think Tyreek Hill's a guy he could win you a whole week just by his performance. He's just so explosive, and that offense. You can't beat the Chiefs' offense.
No.
Now they do spread it around, but Tyreek Hill seems to be a mainstay so far.
Yeah, 100%.
Number 9 might shock some people, but he won me a league and got me second in another one. Lamar Jackson. He is. I do have it. I know people are going to bash me for this, but let me just give you a little stat.
People are going to take him early.
Lamar Jackson was 6th in rushing in the NFL overall.
That's absurd.
He had He had over 1,200 yards. He had more rushing touchdowns than Saquon Barkley last year.
He won't.
So, just if you picked him as a running back, he's top 10.
Yeah, that does make sense.
And he won me a league. He literally carried my team, and he carried my other team into the championship game.
Yeah, which you can't.
It's hard to argue against it, and I just like his rushing. I mean, I do think he'll regress.
His athleticism, yeah.
I do think he'll regress. He had 36 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, he's still going to be good.
And then running out my top is old reliable Julio Jones. And, you don't really got to say much about Julio. He just shows up every year. Touchdowns sometimes could be an issue, but as far as receptions and yards, you can't beat him.
Yeah, I agree.
What rounds out your list?
So I've got Julio Jones actually next on mine after Derrick Henry, which, we just discussed him. And then I've got Alvin Kamara, same thing. Then I mix it up a little bit here. I've got Joe Mixon, who was surprisingly productive despite the issues with the Bengals offense. So I think he kind of takes a step forward this year with some new blood in a quarterback and, some new life at receiver. He's got all the talent. I just think it's a matter of, executing on it. So
yeah, I have Joe Mixon in my honorable mentions. I just don't the Bengals. I just don't like the team. For running back, if you have the bad team, you're just not have as many opportunities. And I think that was what happened to Saquon.
If the game gets away, that's
so. I do like Joe Mixon. He could be that breakout guy. I just don't. I'm not personally a Bengals supporter in the sense of fantasy points.
Yeah, and then this one might surprise you here. I'm actually going to go with Aaron Jones as my 10th overall. He was just sneaky good last year, and I think having having Aaron Rodgers means you have to
Aaron
nonstop
Jones, Aaron
respect the
Rodgers,
past.
it's a tongue
Yeah, so
twister.
right.
I had Aaron Jones last year in one of my leagues, and he was solid. Also, you had Derrick Henry. He had 18 touchdowns last year. I look at him just as a regression candidate. Same thing with Aaron Jones. I don't think he repeats it. Now, if he can get you 15 touchdowns, that's still a lot. I mean, that's still a good number. So, I think both our lists are good. In my honorable mentions, I had Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler is going to be the main guy.
Austin Eckler is going to be an interesting one because he's a guy that prior to last year I always thought was more of a supporting piece than a leadoff back, and he proved me wrong.
Yeah, and he catches the ball, so you get those, and that's the other thing that Derrick Henry. He might not get you the PPR points, but you can't argue the 18 touchdowns.
He's going to
I think Chris Godwin can have a good season. I don't know if he's first round material,
Yeah,
but
he
could be that. He
surprise
could be a
pick.
top 3 receiver this year.
Yeah.
And then I had DeAndre Hopkins. I know he got picked in the first round a lot last year. With Kyler Murray, could he put up the same numbers? I mean, he's just a consistent guy. It's hard to argue over. You go with potential or do you go with sure thing? And I think that sometimes in fantasy, that's where people take those chances on those guys, and sometimes it works out. Sometimes it comes back to bite them. You guys can look for more fantasy opinions from us though down the road.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I definitely want to do a fantasy episode. I know we've mentioned it a couple times.
100%. Probably after we're done with our drafts though, because I don't want to give away all my secrets.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And what's our last football question here? The next question.
All right, this is from Tim Whalen.
Friend of the show. Let's go, Timmy.
Yeah. Got a question you guys can answer. What if the Giants didn't trade up for Eli and ended with Phillip Rivers? Do you think they would have won the last 2 Super Bowls?
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think I don't think any quarterback quite has the clutch gene that we've seen Eli Manning display. And, those Super Bowls were won on his arm. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Yeah, the defense showed up. The defense was great. But he also made some phenomenal throws, led amazing drives that really put the game away for the Giants. I don't know if Phil Rivers has that in the clutch. We've never seen it come from him in a playoff game, especially not on that level. I'm going to say no, that, we fall short and our Super Bowl record would then be lacking.
I agree, because if you look at Phillip Rivers, I mean, he's super successful, but he just never could put that team over the top. And, I know people might say, he's a better quarterback, better skills, down the stretch than Eli. Obviously, he's still playing. But Eli did a lot with a little with those teams, as we talked about last week. And those playoff runs, those moments that Eli had, I don't think other quarterbacks put in those situations would have come up and done the same thing.
I agree.
And, I'm happy they made the trade. Maybe we sucked it up for the last couple of years with Eli just to give him his due.
And that wasn't even Eli's fault. That was on the offensive line not defending him for God knows how long.
Yeah, I mean, so no, I think you're right. I think, Phillip Rivers put in those positions. I don't think we come up with those 2 Super Bowls. I couldn't say we come up with 0 Super Bowls, maybe 1, but still, it's really hard to say.
I think we might still win in 07. I don't think we win in 11 with Phil Rivers. To kind of piggyback on what you were saying. If we get 1, it would probably be 2007. 2011 was all Eli. I don't even know if we make it through the NFC Championship with Phil Rivers, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I said, on the Chargers, he had some solid squads, and he just didn't have that clutch gene like you talked about with Eli. I know we definitely got some more questions we want to talk about. I think we can turn that to our overtime segment. So Matt,
into overtime.
Yeah. So Matt, where can everyone find us at?
So please look for us on Instagram at Why Am I a Nerd Official, on Facebook and YouTube at Why Am I a Nerd, on Twitter at 4th and 1. That's WON Pod. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5 stars would be greatly appreciated. And as always, please comment on everything. We read those comments. It's where our questions come from. So tell us what you think, what you want to see.
Keep the comments coming. So I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. I'm Sean.
And I'm Matt.
We'll catch you next time.